Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone Live. We have another panel for you tonight, so we'll just get straight into it. We have Blue Bonahuvian. Hello, Blue
Hello.
Bonahuvian. We've got Jason Scott. How are you,
Hello,
Jason?
hello.
We've got the Rabbi from another planet.
Hello.
And of course, he's becoming a channel regular now at this stage. We've got Ballstrick. How are you, Ballstrick?
Wait, who am I? Where am I? What's going on? Oh, I'm on a live stream. I was getting sleepy. Hello, everyone. How is the day? I'm assuming we're all just loving this current series of Doctor Who. It's a masterpiece.
Doesn't get any better.
Well, we all need to know that we're pieces of shit and sorry, Noel. Pieces of
there you go. Demonetized in the brilliant.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I dropped a load of F-bombs earlier myself. But listen, guys, if you have any questions for the panel as well tonight, throw your questions in. We'll throw them up on the screen as usual, and we'll try get us through as many of them as we can. But we were just talking off air, and I was saying to Ballstrick maybe he should because Orphan 55. We have to talk about it. It's a 4.8 on IMDb, is it, or BD, or whatever? I get confused between the two letters. Mix them up. Anyway, it's a 4.8. It is. Cheryl checked it last night. It is the lowest rated episode of New Who's run. Complete run. It's the lowest rated episode on that site. A 4.8. That's just now. We've had a lot of people defend this episode, particularly the politics, and we keep getting this. Oh well, Doctor Who's done politics in the past, so I think Ballstrick would probably be best here to kind of explain, because you say it was done different context. Could you explain to people why there's a difference between the way they do the environment episodes years ago to the way they're doing them today?
Well, yeah, you have to look at the fact that the Green Death, this goes all the way back to 1973. So Doctor Who was actually taking a little bit of a risk when they made this episode in the first place. And the episode itself, it was written by Robert Sloman, but Barry Letts basically was a secondary ghostwriter on the script to try and not make it completely inflammatory, at least compared to what we have right now. So Doctor Who, and this is within the larger context as well, Doctor Who has always been political. But until Series 11, or, well, really the last two series of Moffat's run, the way it handled politics was, it wouldn't include political messaging in a way that would demean certain demographics. They would focus on the message itself. Current Doctor Who, we know that there is a very specific agenda. It's written in stone with the diversity and inclusion strategy. We know that there are certain things that have to be included. And comparing the 1973 context to 2000 or 2020, here we're looking at a message and your views on climate change, depending on where you fall on the spectrum. The whole ideology, we can call it at this point, has been completely co-opted by the left. And just look at some of the things that they're doing to promote this, where getting this poor girl with Asperger's to literally screech at us is not winning them any favors, to put it mildly. But also, when you look at this episode, not only is it preachy, which you can say that for the time, the Green Death was preachy, but the Green Death wasn't condescending. This episode might be the most condescending episode I have ever seen of Doctor Who. And it is talking down to us. I'm like, for the love of God, they call them the dregs, as in the dregs of society.
Right, yeah.
These people are us. And the elites, and I will call the BBC elites probably more so than any other entertainment corporation out there, because they are publicly funded. So they do think they're better than the rest of us, and they don't really have to answer to anyone. But it's the elites talking down to us. So they don't have to do anything. Regardless of the resources that go into making this show, I'm like, if you really cared about the environment, BBC, then why not shut down your productions? Like, it's I'm trying to think of a word for it. Just, condescending, demeaning, belittling.
Hypocritical.
That's what we're looking at now. So the Green Death, completely different context, and it did it in a way that didn't talk down to us. It presented solutions. I don't really want to eat fungus, but it presented solutions. And also you have to look at who was playing the Doctor at the time, John Pertwee. You know, he could come off as condescending to his companions, but there was always a retort. But he was never condescending to the viewing audience. You know, he was of an older generation, so he could be brash. Whereas Jodie Whittaker, there's a reason I call her Whittaker the Hateful, or now these days Dr. Nasty. And you can see the way the general public has responded to this episode. They hate it. Even some of the Jodie defenders, actually a lot of them also hate this episode. So to say this is the same as the Green Death is completely inaccurate. You have to look at the context, and you have to look at the way the message was delivered.
Yeah. I actually agree with you there. I mean, I've been reading out lately, I've been doing the articles, as you know, and it's just, they keep actually referencing the Green Death all the time and how Doctor Who's done. We know it's done politics all the time. But again, as I've said, back then they didn't bash us across the head. And also in the Green Death, did we not also in that story get to see kind of both sides of the argument as well? Whereas here, as it's only one side. I mean, I don't know where people stand on the whole climate change issue. It doesn't. I don't really care, to be quite honest. For me, climate change has no business of being in Doctor Who. Just like Rosa Parks has no business of being in Doctor Who. Just like the World War II and the Nazis have no business in Doctor Who. That's just personal to me. I just don't think those things should be in it. Doctor Who is there to entertain. It's not there to be it can educate, but it's there mostly to entertain. But you know what I mean? I think they've lost that, to be quite honest. It's not entertaining us, though.
Well, there's a difference between entertainment and indoctrination, or I should say education and indoctrination.
Right.
And like what I've said before, you can use the classic Doctor Who series or classic Star Trek. It could be educational. Star Trek did it in metaphorical ways, which is why they were able to get away with it. But the questions are largely left open-ended. It's up to the audience to decide. Whereas current year Doctor Who, it's not up to the audience to decide. We're told what to think.
Yeah.
And if we don't think like they do, then we're no good, and we need to stop watching. That's the feeling that I get from it all.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the first time I got the feeling the Doctor hates me.
Right.
I think the big difference between in fact, classic Who and what we have now is the Green Death, and also like there was a bunch of political stories in the Pertwee era, like the Peladon stories. They're very much about the EU and the miners' strike. But the difference was you had diversity behind the camera. You had Terence Dix, who was kind of right wing, and you had Barry Letts, who was kind of left wing, and they respected and they worked with each other. And that's how I think we got balance. And the most important thing is they knew they were there to do a job of telling a story, of entertaining people.
You know, I would be a lot more forgiving of the political ideology and this crap that they're pushing down people's throats. I really would if the acting and the writing was up to par, but it's so god awfully stupid and bad that, I mean, how can you? I can't even get past that to look at the political BS that they do, that they do push and want to cram down your throat. Yeah, it's disgusting, but for me, that would be a heck of a lot more palatable if they could get just get the acting and the writing right. I mean, that's where that's really the biggest issue that I have with the show at this point. Yeah, sure, I'd rather them toss the political junk and the garbage disposal. But I could deal with that a lot better if the acting and the writing was where it should be.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much you described the end of the Moffat era, where you had all this like political crap going on, but at least they delivered a decent story.
Yeah,
it was.
Here's the thing: I think everybody realizes that no matter what show it is, we're not going to get. There's going to be some sort of an agenda in it, and I think that's the way people need to look at it now. When you're choosing your new show that you want to watch, I think you have to, if you don't want a show that's full of all that PC crap, but it's subtle, there is shows out there that do it subtly, but most TV shows out there are going in that direction and will, and there's ones that still haven't that will eventually. It's just the way it is. I think people will just have to make conscious decisions. Well, do I want to watch Doctor Who anymore? Would I rather watch, say, Lost in Space, which I think does it more subtly than Doctor Who does? And even some people are saying Woke Batman does it more subtly than Doctor Who.
Well, no, Woke Batman is actually fun to watch.
And I wouldn't even mind, Balstrek. I think I was telling you this. My Cheryl's mother and father actually think that the writing and the acting in Woke Batman is better in Doctor Who.
It actually is, and that's the sad thing.
Are you serious? See, I haven't watched. I've just watched your videos. So you're telling me the acting in Woke Batman, which is Batwoman, is better than Doctor Who.
That's what me wife's parents think.
That is incredibly sad.
It's terrible, but one of the things with Batwoman is it's so over the top that it's actually entertaining. I'm still partially convinced that the show is a parody. But yeah, one thing I wanted to bring as well when you're talking about ideologies being introduced into Doctor Who, another comparison that you can make to the Jon Pertwee era is you had Malcolm Hulke, who wrote several episodes, The Silurians, Ambassadors of Death, Colony in Space, Sea Devils, Frontier in Space, sadly, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. He was a known communist, but they kept him in line. So there were a lot of revisions done to his scripts. And that's another thing that we're not seeing, where just Chibs is letting ideologues run rampant on scripts, and that's largely because that's what he believes in. But with Hulke, he wrote some great scripts, but Letts and Terrence Dicks kept him in line, where we would never see that today.
I don't think Chibs has the capacity to tell somebody no about a script, especially if they're this elevated minority that he reveres. Like,
he agrees with them, so but who's minding him?
Well, even on a technical level, let's say a woman writes a script. I don't think Chibs has the ability to say, "Oh no, we need to restructure this differently." He can't be critical of people who are protected classes to him because he's a racist. Makes me so crazy.
I am banned from Digital Spy, because I did a Digital Spy. I'm just reading Stephen Cassidy's comments there, because he was saying, I read an article. Actually, when I say I read an article, I ranted through it. I think Lou Bonnet-Hoovian was in the comments at the time. But I was ranting through it. I was actually very angry. This so-called journalist, Rachel, trying to tell us that that this was the journalist that actually got under my skin, basically saying, comparing Orphan 55 to Green Death, and saying that Doctor Who was always being political, and we actually all kind of get over ourselves. I kind of lost the plot with that one. I hate stupid journalists or people that pretend to be journalists writing for these stupid outlets. I mean, Digital Spy criticised it a few days back, and then we get this article from the same news outlet from a different journalist actually basically criticising the fans again. And you can already see it. I've seen it on Twitter already. The fans are already starting to blame, and the media are already starting to blame. Guess who? Us. It's our fault that the show is struggling, by the way. It's our fault because we're all a bunch of sexists and we're bigots and we're all this, that, and the other. Do you know what? It's funny, right? I don't mind being called all those names, but it's funny when they come up against a female Whovian and because they've got no comeback for them, because they can't call them sexist.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do.
Really? That's
yes,
crazy.
when she was announced,
Right.
I can't tell you how much hate I got for not liking the choice.
Yeah.
Yep, me too.
The fact is that I'm still of that. I don't really want a female doctor, never have. The fact that I don't want that, I hate my own gender. I have internal hate.
The links that they'll go to dismiss an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, calling a female a misogynist for not liking
it. It's funny.
You should see what Mecha Random gets on a daily basis.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm very aware of what she gets every day.
On YouTube as well, which has been sad to see.
Look at my look at comments in my videos when a woman speaks out.
Yeah, they have no shame. They don't care. I've been called all kinds of names, the C word, the twat, you know, what have you.
You know, what they do is they denigrate those terms and they become meaningless because when you use them against a woman, I mean, that's just watering down the term, watering down the, you know, until it just has no value at all.
Exactly. And just ignore them as well. I used to react to it all the time, as you know, Blue Bonnet, all the time. But now I just don't bother anymore because that's what they want. They want that reaction, and that's what they get the buzz out of.
But sometimes it's just fun to just needle them in a little bit and then block them. That's what I do. Like I'll make a sarcastic comment or something that they can't quite fathom in their little tiny bean brains, and then I block them. Yeah,
once in a while I like to poke. It does be fun sometimes, but I'm kind of getting to the stage now where it's like, what's the point? Sure, she's gonna look. Here's the bottom line: Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall will be gone one day. The problem is, right, and I'm gonna ask all the panel here, right, because I asked Eddie Iscaro. I've had him on this channel before, but I asked Eddie Iscaro on his cast, do you think Doctor Who can recover from this era? Now he's in the belief that it can, right? Me, I'm not so sure because, you know, it'll be at least 10 years anyway. If they do take it off air, I think it'll be at least 10 years before anybody will even attempt to touch it again. But I'm going to ask each of you in the panel, do you think Doctor Who's days are numbered? And do you think it will ever come back on the screen? And if it does, how long do you think, in your opinion, do you think it should stay off the air for before it comes back on the screen? Whoever wants to start first, we'll start with you, Blue Bonnet, actually.
Honestly, you know, I go back and forth. There's days where once you watch a bad episode, you know, you're just ranting and raving, you're angry, and you're thinking, oh no, this is dead, this is not coming back. But I don't know. Honestly, I sometimes I think if they would just get a good actress and just kind of let them go after series 12 and we get a good showrunner and a good actor, you know, it's possible to save it. But again, I don't really know. Like I said, I go back and forth, so I really don't have an answer to that question. If it goes off the air, let's say it does, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I think maybe 5 years, possibly would be good. Hopefully get it in someone's hands that actually loves the show, because right now it's in the hands that really don't have any love for the show. It doesn't seem that way to me. It seems like he just wants to promote propaganda or an agenda to me. So, like I said, I really don't have an answer because it changes all the time. I mean, it just depends. It just depends on what's going on with it.
Yeah, I think everybody's mood does kind of shift a little bit, doesn't it, each week?
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's weird. Jason?
I tell you what, I'm going to let one of the other I'm going to let one of the other panelists go real quick because I've got to hit the bathroom. So
no problem.
I'll be right back. Go ahead and take my spot. Just
no problem. Right, go ahead, Rabbi.
Yeah, I think it can survive this. I've always thought that, and I think if doing badly makes it going to survive it quicker, it can come back quicker. The worse it does now, the quicker it can come back. Whether it will or not, I don't know. There's no limit of stupidity. But the reason I think it's going to come back is because we had a good, solid 10 years of just incredible prime Doctor Who that captured an entire new audience. And those kids are going to grow up and they're going to become writers and they're going to move into TV. And at some point, they're going to go, I love Doctor Who. What happened to it? Exactly like how it came back last time. So I am very confident it'll come back. It might take 10 years. It might take 20 years. But I'm sure it's going to come. It might come back like in a year from now. You know, it might just do so badly they have to bring in a whole nother production team. Then it'll come back. It's all how fast it'll come back depends on how stupid the BBC are, which is pretty stupid.
Just see on my screen there. Sorry, guys, because I've got some super chats here. So I've got a £2 super chat from Jump Top. It says, Bluebirds. And then Milk Dreams for 10 Australian dollars. A female master, ? I think he's asking us, would we like a female master? Look, I think Michelle Gomez was a great actress, right? I'm not slagging her acting talent because she's absolutely fantastic. But like the Doctor, for me personally, I feel the Doctor, like the Master, is a male role. Now, Missy or Michelle Gomez proved that, yes, if given to the right actress, it can work, but she wasn't for me personally. Guys, what do you think? Female Master again?
If it's done right.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Missy. I mean, it's I especially like the box sets they did. The box set they did for her at Big Finish, where they had her own standalone stories. I thought it matched Capaldi's, because in Capaldi you saw elements of all the other Doctors in it, just brilliantly. You saw the micro expressions of the other Doctors in him, and I kind of saw a lot of the other Masters in Missy. I got a hint of Delgado. I got a hint of Ainley. It was John Sim. I kind of got a feeling of the other Masters in her, with her being her own person as well. So I think that the thing is, the Master has to be a kind of dark reflection, a black mirror of the Doctor. That's how it works the best. So that's why, with the Pertwee and the Delgado Master, they were both very suave, gentlemanly people. And then when you had the John Sim Master, who I didn't really like that much, he was a real reflection of the Tennant Master. So I just think the Master to work has to be a reflection of the Doctor, like a dark reflection of what that Doctor is right then.
Yeah, I agree. I loved Missy. I had no problem with her, which is, for a person that does not want a female Doctor, is amazing, because I had no warning that she would. I mean, I kind of thought it, but I wasn't sure. But I had no warning, and then when she was revealed, I was intrigued. I really liked it. And it goes to show you, if you have the right actress for a role, it can work. And Moffat, you can say a lot about him, but he was very good at casting, and I think that was superb.
She just came across as a deranged Mary Poppins to me. Maybe I'm just far more militant than all you guys, but I'm not saying she was a bad actress. She was actually brilliant, and I think with Peter Capaldi, I think the two of them, there was definitely the right chemistry there. You could tell that when you were in scenes together that they actually enjoyed being in scenes together.
Yeah.
I'm not denying any of that. Just for me, I'm just old-fashioned in that I just believe that the Master is a male role. But I was sad when Missy got shot in the back, so that says a lot. So because being
the moment that really sold Missy to me was in, what was it, The Witch's Familiar or the one after it, where they're in they think it's the space station. And, Capaldi says the gravity to her, and you're like, and at that point I really bought it. I'm like, yes, and now from that moment I was totally sold.
I was speculating at the time that it was going to be the Master at the end. You can actually my videos from, I don't know, 5.5 years ago, however long it was now, are still online. But yeah, no, I was excited when because keep in mind, this is before the BBC went to hell, so we weren't suspecting an agenda behind it. But I thought, at the end, I'm like, actually, no, this is a really cool turn. They're doing something different with the narrative, which was what my argument, if you wanted to do a female doctor, has always been. If you give us something free of ideology, something that fits in the narrative, give us a reason for this happening, then I would have been fine with it, which is what they did with Missy. And the difference between Michelle Gomez and Jodie Whittaker is Jodie Whittaker cannot act to save her life, and she's just a terrible person. Whereas Michelle Gomez fit the role perfectly, because if you see her in real life, she's batshit crazy. So I think it worked wonderfully.
I just got another £2 super chat by Jump Top. Now I know what he's actually talking about when he said Bluebirds. Carlisle United 3, Cardiff City 4, Bluebirds. So you must be a Cardiff City fan. Was it the FA Cup or was it in the Championship? Let us know. And you just send it in the normal chat there. Let us know if it was in the FA Cup. I think we won in the FA Cup. It was 1-0 when I last checked. So hopefully we got through against Wolves. But that's enough for the football.
Go team. So that's that soccer ball thing.
Yeah.
Can I just wanted to touch on the question before, a couple paces back, regarding should the show be canceled and can it recover? Because I had a couple pennies I wanted to throw in on that question.
No problem. Go ahead.
And of course, you probably know my answer to that. You probably know my answer to that already. Yes, I think the show can recover immediately if they get the right writers and the right actors. And no, I don't think the show should be canceled. I don't really think that's a good idea, to be honest, because you never know when that show will be revived. If they cancel it, it could be 5 years, it could be 10, it could be 20. You don't know. So I would rather err on the side of caution, keep the show alive, don't cancel it, and just get the right actors and get the right writers.
That is
actually. I didn't answer that one either. Come to think of it, my view is, because of the damage that's been done to fandom, because of the anger that is directed at this show, and my argument has always been, we could have another Hinchcliffe Holmes era after this. It could be a Solo type situation where, just using Star Wars as an example, Solo at best is an average at best science fiction movie, but it was nowhere near as bad as The Last Jedi. But the anger for The Last Jedi was taken out on Solo, which is, I think, what would happen if Doctor Who, say this team gets axed this year and then next year's Series 13, we're back with the brilliant Doctor, brilliant showrunner. A lot of people aren't going to come back, at least not for a while, because this wasn't what we've had the past 2 years. It's not just that it was a bad season. Like Series 10 was a bad season, but it didn't alienate everyone.
Yeah.
Right now, the problem is the anger, the hate that's directed at fans from those in front of and behind the camera. Just this toxic element within the fan base that has turned everyone off. So I think Doctor Who needs, and this is just my view. Other views are obviously perfectly fine, but my view is it needs a cooling off period. And sadly, I think it needs 10 years. Ooh. Now, I could be wrong, but knowing this fan, I've been a member of I've been a part of Doctor Who fandom. For almost 40 years. I've been a part of Doctor Who online fandom since 1995 using the same screen name. And people have run away. So you have to win them back, but you're not going to win them back right away. And go ahead, man.
Back. If they really get desperate, if they act, I think, bring back David Tennant for a year to do an interim year when they rebuild, that would get everybody back straight away.
I mean, let me. Here's my thing though. I really believe. Look, think of yourself as a consumer. I love Star Wars. I mean, I love the first trilogy. The rest of them, I think that my jumping off point, the true jumping off point, when I just said, they've really lost it, would be The Last Jedi. when they killed Luke, that was it for me. I mean, that was just I was genuinely angry and disgusted, and thought, they have just destroyed this franchise. They've destroyed. I mean, they did a good job of roughing it up for the prequels, but they just annihilated it once they killed Luke, because that just destroyed. It's like there was nothing left for me. But in the back of my mind, think of yourself as a consumer. If they came out with a movie, a follow-up movie, and like, for example, they brought Luke back, or they did something, they released a Star Wars that was, let's say it was on the level of, it was somewhere quality-wise on the level of maybe the original trilogy. Let's just say hypothetically, which is totally unrealistic, but just hypothetically, let's say they were able to pull that off. I, as a fan, would see that, and I'm angry, but I'd still go see it, So that's kind of that's where I kind of stand. I think there's a lot of people that say, like, yeah, I'm angry and this and that and the other thing. But when the rubber hits the road, if they release a quality product, it's sort of like, Rabbi had mentioned this last time, and I think we kind of see eye to eye. Mandalorian is one that I immediately just threw up my hands when I saw the trailer and thought, yeah, here's another piece of garbage, And then I did a little investigating on it, and I'm not completely sold on it, but it is a hell of a lot better than the garbage that has come before it. So in my opinion, I'll pay for something that's worth it, and they would deserve it. And I can understand the anger because I've been there, but I do think at the same time, if something quality does come out and the reviews are good, and it actually, people who are, who I tend to agree with, say, hey, this is, they're making a shift, then, I tend to think fans would, I know what fans say, but I think when the rubber meets the road, if it's a good product, genuinely good, I don't buy that they would, that they would dismiss it all, out of hand.
And I guess it depends on how it's presented as well.
Yeah.
Like when, with just as an example, Good Omens earlier this year, that was done as a partnership between Amazon and the BBC, because it's not just that there's mistrust of the show, there's mistrust of the BBC right now. But say if it was on a partly American streaming service, if it was the same deal as Good Omens, that possibly might bring people back. But at this point, it's hard to tell. It's even us was speculating, we could be wrong, we could be completely right. It depends on what happens. But yeah, it would have to be a work of genius to bring fans back.
Well, think about it. Think about it from your own perspective, though. Think about it just on a personal level, just with you. Ask yourself, look, I think it's absolutely horrific what they've done with the franchise. It's horrific. But even in spite of that, if they were to come out with something in the next incarnation, the next era, great actors, great cast, great writing, would you really sit on the sidelines and
Oh, I personally would be watching it. I'm still watching it now.
And I don't think you're alone.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're alone in the sense that people say, I would protest. But I think when push comes to shove, if it's a good product, yeah, ask yourself, would.
Yeah, I probably would. I'm not going to lie.
Oh no, all five of us would definitely be watching it. I think the way it's marketed would play into that as well. Do you denounce the ideology? Do you denounce that kind of stuff as well? I think they'd also need to make that public, because that's where a lot of the anger is coming from.
Yeah,
not the inclusion of the preaching.
Right, I agree. I just think the biggest problem with Doctor Who right now is you've got a clown leading the pack. You genuinely have someone who has no grasp of the role. She doesn't know how to act. She's and not only that, she's saddled with some of the worst writing that the franchise has ever seen. So when you put those elements together, this is just a recipe for absolute disaster. Yep. And even if you excise the agenda, even when you strip that away and take that out of the equation, just the other elements are so god awfully stupid and bad that there's no redeeming factor. But if those things were in place, I could forgive a lot. I could overlook a lot of that and possibly enjoy watching the show. That wouldn't keep me from enjoying it. I would rather there not be an agenda. But if you can dress it up and make it, palatable and really good, well, whatever. I mean, I can overlook some of that, but you've got to get this writing and this act. You've got to get the casting and the writers. You've got to get that house in order. There's just no two ways about it. For God's sake, that at least would get people to the table,
Yeah, no, it's true. And the show right now, I was worried when the announcement was made back in 2017, but I had no idea it would get this bad.
Yeah.
But if you have a complete turnaround, I'm like, the five of us, regardless, will be watching it, and I want the show to come back. Like I've said this a few times, but my earliest memory, or one of my earliest memories, is watching Destiny of the Daleks. So I literally have been with this show as long as I can physically remember. So I want the show to come back. And I've been watching actually a lot of the Christopher Eccleston, or actually I've marathoned it all the way through for probably the 300th time last week. And when we think back to 2005, just the excitement that surrounded the show at that point. And when watching those episodes, I can still feel that excitement, and it's so far removed from where we are right now. If they could find some way to rebuild that excitement, which would be an uphill battle, but yeah, I'm hopeful that they could turn it around, but I'm very skeptical.
Yeah,
I guess that's the easiest
well, I
way
think
of
the
putting
issue, I think really that just comes down to, do they want to turn it around? Because
Yeah,
if you don't
they
want
wanna-
to,
they want to. I just feel like the agenda is more important than the writing and the
I
acting.
do as well. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the problem.
if they
That's
made
the
up
big
their
issue.
mind, if they made up their mind that they were going to hire some great actors, some great writers, and they really put their back into it, you might, you could probably see the show turn around real quick. I just don't think they're interested in
No,
that. They want to
they're
see
not.
us, they're interested in how much can we milk this? How far
Yeah.
can we push it? I mean,
Yeah,
how low are they willing to go?
I'm hopeful that it'll get so incredibly bad that the
Right.
people who really that this season will get so incredibly bad and do so incredibly badly that you would have like people from you'll have Russell D. Davis who want to step in for a year. You have people who want to come back and do an interim year to save the show. If they see this thing they built being destroyed, I'm hoping they have like some ownership of it, because Russell D. Davis really did create this new version of Doctor Who.
He really did.
Back in 2005, it had to do something that it has to do now, because it had a really bad reputation for years and years and years of having wobbly sets and low production values. And so, they really had to get over that, and they did that, pretty quickly. And I think that's where the excitement came from. It was the first time I think we've seen something that was so traditionally British get done on a professional modern footing. So it was just exciting to see like the time vortex realized photorealistically.
Yeah. Can I just wanted to ask something real quick of each of you, because I have opinions, but I'm just curious. And if they were going to revive the series, I mean, really bring it back strong, who do you think in your mind would be a perfect fit for the Doctor as an actor?
Well, I've got my answer for this, which I've had for a few years, which is something that a lot of us want. I think a perfect way to bring it back would be because we know that the Doctor can revisit old faces. That's been established as canon. I want a Paul McGann series.
Yeah.
If you want to win me back,
That's
get somebody that knows what the hell they're doing and get Paul McGann. If I know not everybody listens to Big Finish, but he's been playing the Eighth Doctor on Big Finish for literally 20 years. He is an amazing Doctor. Just look at just the 7 minutes that we got of him on screen again in 2013 in Night of the Doctor. Personally, if you want to win me back, I want Paul McGann, and I want at least one season of Paul McGann, preferably 3. So I know that's kind of cheating because I'm going back to a previous Doctor, but I've wanted to see that since we got him back on screen almost 7 years ago.
Exactly. A lot of Doctor Who fans actually want a Paul McGann series.
Yeah, I know. I did. We were talking about that last night. Yeah, I was showing him that webisode, and we were talking about that. But my question would be, like, he is a lot older, so how would they explain that?
Well, keep in mind it's also established in canon when River Song regenerated that the Doctor can increase or decrease his age while he's within regenerations, and it probably wouldn't be hard to put something into the narrative as to why this Doctor looks older. He just adjusted his age, or he regenerated, because we don't really know exactly how regeneration works. That's been kept deliberately vague. We know that, unfortunately, the Doctor can now change genders. We know that the Doctor can pick faces, as with Peter Capaldi. We know that he can revisit previous regenerations, which was canonized by Tom Baker. We know that he can change age within regenerations as established by River Song. So even within canon, it probably wouldn't be too hard to explain why he looks different. Or keep in mind we're looking at 7 years since the 50th anniversary. He's aged a little bit, but you could also explain he's gone back to where he was at the end of that regeneration. He just revisited the regeneration, and we know that wasn't a natural regeneration either. That was a forced regeneration. So you could explain, like, there's so many ways within the narrative, within established canon, that you could explain a return to Paul McGann. So the age thing doesn't bother me that much.
But you know what boils down to? It's as simple as this. If you've got someone that understands Doctor Who and is a writer and a producer, right, they will find a way of making it work, right? If you were to get Chris Chibnall to try and do that, he'd come up with some silly bloody scheme, right? It wouldn't even make sense, right, within the narrative. That's the problem. You've already seen with his series so far, series 12, he's totally ignored canon in his series so far in 3 episodes. So, I mean, this guy is reckless.
Well, hopefully he wouldn't be nowhere near this.
I know, but
the reason
reckless. And this is the guy that wants to reimagine classic episodes, as we spoke about a few months back. Could you imagine if he reimagined some of those missing classic episodes? They'd be an absolute joke. He is reckless. Let's be honest about it. That's what he is. He is reckless with Doctor Who's canon and Doctor Who's lore. He has absolutely no respect for the character or anybody that played the character beforehand. He is just, I don't know what's wrong with him. Or was he so hurt back in the 80s when he had a go at the two showrunners?
Pip and Jane Baker.
That's what, is he so bitter? Is he? Like, come on, get over yourself. All we want to do is to be entertained, and we're not being even entertained anymore. He just wants to hammer us over the head with his stupid politics and his ideology, and doesn't care about the show. And it shows. It shows. This guy does not have any love for Doctor Who, and that's who the BBC gave the Golden Chalice to. And that's exactly what it is. This could be making BBC all sorts of money. They do not understand the potential. I agree with Ballstreck, and a lot of Doctor Who fans would agree as well. The only way to win me back now is a spin-off of a Paul McGann or something like that. It's the only way. Give us that for a couple of years, as Ballstreck said, and then bring in. Do you know what? A lot of people have mentioned Nicholas Briggs.
I was actually just about to say that.
Yeah. Right,
yeah.
Bring him in, right? Because Big Finish is right now is even more successful than the main show itself.
Well, how about this? Hand the show over to Big Finish for 3 years.
That would be awesome if they would just do that.
Why not? Exactly. Oh man! See,
on the issue of aging on screen, fortunately we've reached the stage of technology where that's not necessarily so much an impediment anymore.
Exactly,
with technology, you can certainly impose the old Paul McGann's appearance, superimpose that on his appearance now, and that may very well fly because of the stage we're at this point. So that may not necessarily be an impediment.
Yeah, although I kind of like the idea of an older Paul McGann because he has that Pertwee-esque stature to him. So I'd say don't decrease his age, just leave. And I think he's 59 now, actually.
Yeah, he's almost 60.
Yeah, right. He might be 60.
He looks fine. Honestly, he looks. And also, you don't even need to regenerate him. You could do a flashback season, or you could do like a regenerative trauma where he's regenerating into his old faces for a year. So you have like a couple of episodes with McGann, a couple of episodes with whoever you can get. Tom Baker do an episode. You can do that. There's so many things you could. It's Doctor Who. There's so many freaking things you could do with this.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to.
There are a few of them that could realistically pull it off on screen. Colin Baker, he can still do it vocally, but he hasn't been McCoy has not aged, so he could do it. Peter Davison could definitely do it.
Get another chance as well. Actually, he's a doctor I would actually love to get a second chance as well, because again, his era was starting to get very.
Which doctor?
Sylvester McCoy.
I love McCoy.
His era was starting to get interesting when they decided to pull the plug completely. So
season 26 is one of the best shows, or one of the best seasons in Doctor Who history. Yeah, that does show how they can turn it around as well, because season 24 was a disaster. So they did turn it around in 2 years.
Wow.
But then it got canceled. But
so
but they also turned it around between Troughton and Pertwee as well. So they have turned the show around before.
But I do want to sort of explore this just for a second. I do think with deepfake technology, you could theoretically bring back, just for a short time or maybe for a single episode, you could have a flashback to a Tom Baker episode that was never seen, or to a new some sort of new episode with Tom Baker. Just with that technology alone, there's ways to do it that I'm not saying it should be done. I'm just saying it would be interesting. You could apply that to McCoy or any of these guys at this stage. To me, that's a very interesting proposition. I'm not saying it necessarily with Paul McGann. If people want to see an older version, so be it. But I do think the technology makes it very interesting that you could, if these guys are still alive and can voice the character, it could very well be possible to bring them back maybe 5 or 6 years from now, make it believable to see them on screen as they're, in their prime.
If you want to do a second Doctor story, you could totally cast Fraser Hines. If you heard him do the Patrick Troughton,
it's
and he's the right age. He looks all right. You put him in the costume, he could totally sell that the second Doctor. And also, what's his name? John Pertwee's son,
Sean. Oh yeah, he looks exactly like his father. It's uncanny.
As in one, and he looked perfect. The guy from Gotham. Which one's that one? Whoever played Alfred in Gotham. I'm thinking Michael Caine. Will he be too old? I've only ever watched like 3 episodes of Gotham. Well, it was John Pertwee's son. You put the right hair on him, put him in the costume, he could sell that role.
Yes, Sean Pertwee. Yeah, but he has actually came out and said that he doesn't want to actually play his father. That he would come into Doctor Who in some capacity, maybe play a villain, but he wouldn't play his father. He said, and that's been respectful to his dad, so I can understand that, to be honest. But that would be a great idea, but yeah, he's being respectful, so yeah.
If we're talking about like a new Doctor, I love Gary Nerdrotic's idea of Peter Dinklage. I just think that I know
I'm not against it. I'm not against it, and I get a lot of crap for that.
And he's got that star quality that'll draw people back in.
I wouldn't mind.
You think he'd be up to the physical rigors of that role?
I think, I totally do.
Yeah. If he was up to Game of Thrones, he definitely
was.
But they had a stunt double playing a lot of his parts because he just couldn't carry it out.
How do you know?
I'm just teasing.
Oh, you're teasing. Okay.
Him, and we'll do the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, and sorry guys, I just have to step away for a second, but I'll be right back.
Okay.
No problem. I would probably go with Michael Shane. He's been my choice for a while now. But it'd be probably the money.
Yeah, he's a big actor now, especially since before Good Omens.
Yeah. If I was going to pick, let's say, if talking about the Master for a second, if I had to pick somebody, and this was one of my picks for the Doctor, But if I had to pick somebody, because I mean, I think he might be better suited as the Master, although I could see him as the Doctor, would be a guy like Jason Isaacs.
Yeah. Oh, so the trouble is, Jason Isaacs has so turned me off now because he's such a dick.
Oh, because Star Trek Discovery fans.
You know, the heck with all that. I'm just saying, if you put him in a role where it really suits him, I think you kind of can forget. I mean, I know what you're talking about because I've done it with certain actors. I felt that way about certain actors, and then they'll play in something. I'm like, it totally shifts my perception. I thought, well, Keanu Reeves, man, the guy's like just cardboard to me. I just, you know. but he played. But there was one role where I thought, like, wow, you know, it was a devil's advocate. I thought, now this is kind of his speed. So if you know, but Jason Isaacs just came across like he's got this menacing kind of, I don't know. There's something about him like it's just a dark, you know. Like he could do it as the Master. But I originally thought like he'd make a great Doctor, but he might be a little too serious for that
I understand the whole thing because, you know, David Tennant opens his mouth sometimes and pisses me off, but I still like him, you know? So it's the same thing.
But David directly attacked one of us. You know, that's
that's where it's different. Yeah, I can see that because he attacked original Star Trek fans. You know, like
you know, the guy's entitled to his opinion. I don't care. I mean, I love Star Trek, but
he attacked Mecha Random 42. It was a great.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
What did he say?
So she recorded him at the Star Trek convention saying the Discovery writers had no freaking idea what they're doing. Right, and he said it, and she played the recording, and then he just piled on her and called her like all these names.
Oh, you know why? You know why, don't you? It was because she exposed him,
exactly,
and it would affect his career. That's exactly why he did. You know, he felt like it was gonna. This was something that was gonna impact, and he didn't want that to be known.
But he shouldn't open his mouth.
Well, maybe not, but he didn't know he was being recorded.
Still,
But if you're at a convention. People are going to record you.
Maybe so, but you know, it's just one of those things.
I'm just like a very loyal person. I'm like Rorschach. You know, an attack on one is an attack on all.
No, I look, I get it. It's just I'm here. I guess for me, I'm here for the entertainment. If you put somebody in a good role, I don't care. I mean, you know, it's like you know, there's actors that have come out and said some outlandishly just stuff that I wanted to punch him in the nose because it's just so stupid political crap, you know. And then, you know, but for me, I can kind of separate that from, okay, are they in a good show? Because I'll go see it. You know, if they're a good actor, I don't, you know, I kind of forgive all that.
You are right, because I just watched that Robert De Niro movie. And he's been the last couple of years just irritating.
Oh,
me.
Yeah, really irritating.
Movie, I'm like, well, I guess he's a good actor. What can I say?
I mean, you're talking about The Irishman?
Yeah, it's the one.
Yeah. Good show. I mean, I liked it for the most part, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about though. Like you know, I mean, what they say in their personal life, I can kind of separate that from there. If they put out a good show and they're a good actor, well, you know, they got me.
Here, High 004 actually asks an interesting question there for the panel. Do you think comedic or real eccentric backgrounds should be a requirement for the role?
I think there should be more character actors in Doctor Who as the Doctor.
A requirement.
And I don't know if that's the right answer to that question.
I mean,
but
should they be eccentric or a comedian? I mean, I don't know. Because I don't really get into their personal life. I mean, I don't.
I mean, listen. Tom Baker was very much Tom Baker. You know, that was
right. He's playing himself.
And that's the other thing is, I mean, what we consider kind of eccentric might be, you know, I mean, it's kind of a subjective, isn't it? Kind of, wouldn't you think it'd be a little subjective? I don't know how you'd. I mean, like one comedian is one idea. One guy's idea of a comedian is another guy's idea of a stupid idiot. You know.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think a certain amount of personal eccentricity would be helpful. Like, forget he's American, for example. But if you cast Nicolas Cage as a Doctor, other than him being American, that kind of work because he's crazy, and that craziness does come out on screen.
But don't you think like, because there's people who are eccentric, very eccentric, and maybe they're even funny, but they can't act.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just be eccentric. You need to be able to act as well.
Yeah. You got to have some acting ability, because if you're just eccentric, you could end up like, what's that dude? Jesus, I can't think of his name.
Adam Actually, Jesus would make.
Who's Dweevil Zappa's dad?
What now?
No, who?
I said Jesus would make a great doctor.
Compare,
Which
yeah,
one?
over Jodie Whittaker, but
I just
know.
returned. We're talking about casting Jesus now.
Yeah, why not? We
You came in at the right time.
Jodie Whittaker. Lee Anthony Davis says, "Hi Noel, I'd like to ask a question to all of you. What do you think of Johnny Depp as the Doctor?" I've heard this a few times, and I thought,
No.
No,
Younger Johnny Depp, not Johnny Depp hasn't done a decent movie in 15 years.
Yes, I agree. Here.
If we got Johnny Depp, we'll basically get the Dark Shadows movie.
He'd probably make a
or
good
Willy
villain.
Wonka or something weird like that.
Yeah,
He'd make a good villain.
yeah.
Who knows? It depends on how he. I mean, Jesus, who knows? With
Not Jim.
You know?
If someone says Jim Carrey would have been a good.
Oh God, no.
Hugh Laurie. I'd go for that.
No,
yeah, that would be better. No, Jim Carrey. No.
Yeah, actually, you know who I was thinking the other day would be really cool? They did a War Doctor series with like a young John Hurt, but you can't have young John Hurt. So I was trying to think who to cast. At first I thought of Gary Oldman, but he's too old. Then I thought, was it Harry Lloyd, who was in The Family of Blood? He was the schoolboy.
Oh, you're talking about, he was in Game of Thrones. We talked about this before, yeah.
Targaryen was in the Thatcher movie. Fantastic actor. He could play a young John Hurt, just regenerated. And I'd love to see that really dark season where I want to see how the Doctor is so disgusted with himself. I want to see the war crimes that he did, Like, I imagine him just walking in and taking control of Gallifrey's forces and doing some insane move that wipes out billions of planets, like gives them, like, some kind of breathing room. And,
yeah, I'd be okay with it. I would be up for that. That would be very interesting to me. I agree.
If they're going to do a Time War one, the things I love in war movies, I just saw 1917 last night. What I think makes a great war movie is when you trek across like a war-torn countryside to make some kind of goal. So you get, like, whatever the war doctor is, whoever you cast, let's say Harry Lloyd as the young, what's he would again? Who played the war doctor? The young
John Hurt.
John Hurt, as the young John Hurt. And you get, like, he puts together a team of, like, an ice warrior, and they go on, like, this mission, and they basically all get killed off one by one as they go in deep into the heart of Dalek territory. That's
Jeff Goldblum is another name. And, Bill Whittaker wrote this one. I thought this was funny, but I didn't throw it up. He says, "I bet we could get Kevin Spacey really cheap."
We probably could.
Yeah, yes, we can, but should we?
I thought
that would be going from one extreme to the other. Jesus Christ.
Jesus. House of Cards was a good show until like that. I haven't even actually watched the end of House of Cards because after
watch his YouTube videos, his Christmas messages. They will just send shivers down your spine. Where the production team would get assassinated.
Yeah, he's in character as Frank, whatever Underwood. Yeah, he's
well, considering the purported events that surround that, it makes that all the more terrifying.
It's so dark.
He's just I don't know.
Great actor though, I'm telling you.
Yes,
he's a really good actor, and that's what the shame is.
You can't really be praising him because you know yourself.
we could talk about cancel culture, but there are some cases where yes, I think Kevin Spacey did those things. I think Bill Cosby did those things. I think Harvey Weinstein did those things. So yeah, no.
But there's one thing we do know though: Harvey Weinstein didn't kill himself.
Yes, you had to bring that in, didn't you?
Anyway. Well, here, by the way, if this stream mysteriously goes off, just blame the US government.
Or the BBC, depending.
Yeah, well, yeah, whoever I've met, whoever I've annoyed
pissed
this
off,
time.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's wife would be a better female doctor.
I have no idea who Tom Hardy's wife is.
I'm good with it. Let's find out.
I think I think that's supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, everybody
Well,
is-
obviously it is, but I'm just like, I don't know.
Everybody's like, who?
Well, he's been married twice, so he's married to
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte Riley. She's 38.
Mm.
She is known for something called Easy Virtue, and
Here's a
Yeah,
question.
that's
Wuthering Heights.
Here's a question for you guys. Which actor you wish had got the role that was mentioned or was rumored to be getting the role that didn't get the role? So basically, someone that was a front runner but didn't end up getting the role.
Oh, I know exactly who.
Yeah. Who would you have preferred to play the Doctor?
Benedict Cumberbatch or Idris Elba. They were both rumored when 12 was cast, and I've said this before. Olivia Colman too.
Nice. Rabbi?
I'm just looking him up now. I can't remember his name. 1 second. Looking up a cast list. I'm on the wrong thing. He was in Neverwhere. I was there. Full cast and crew. He was in the first season of... man, where is it? It's going to take me a minute to find him. Fantastic actor. But 1 second. Let me look up Neverwhere. That's got a smaller cast. He was also in The Leftovers. Neverwhere, 1996. Let's have a look. Full cast and crew. Oh, Patterson Joseph. He was rumored to have it instead of Matt Smith. Patterson Joseph, fantastic actor. He's have you ever seen? Again, he was in The Leftovers in the first season. Peep Show. He's in it for one episode each season. The remake of Survivors. Anybody know who he is?
No, I don't.
Who
I
did he
think I
play
looked
on
at last
Peep
time.
Show?
He's got that like eccentricity. I don't think it's eccentricity. I think he's got to be an actor that you've got to see things going on behind his eyes. You know that. He
was in the new season of End of the Effing World.
Oh, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He had a brief role in it. I can remember where I'd seen him before, but that's where I've seen him.
Yeah. Google him. He's just a really, really, really good. Oh yeah, he's in that.
What's the name again?
Patterson Joseph.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this guy was.
Oh God, I remember this guy. Actually, yeah, he would.
He also was in Doctor Who. He was in
intrigued now. I have to check this guy out now. He's having me all
he was in the one where what was the name of that episode? It was with it was the Eccleston era.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember which one it was. He
It was the one where
he was in. I think he was in Jekyll too. The miniseries.
Roderick in Parting of the Ways.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
The story's IMDb. Roderick Parting of the Ways.
Yeah, he was in Jekyll as well. Yeah, actually, yeah, I've seen him in a ton of stuff now that I'm looking at.
Yeah, he's one of those great actors who you never notice.
No, yeah, just basing off because I love Peep Show. It's one of my favorite British comedies. Yeah, I could see him do it.
For me, it would be Tom Ellis. I know he was rumored. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think during Tenet. Yeah, Tom Ellis, definitely. And plus he's been in the show, so it'd be like, he took on another face.
Here's one for you, Roy. How realistic, because I've seen this a lot lately since his Golden Globes stint. Ricky Gervais' name has been mentioned. How realistic is it for Ricky Gervais to play the Doctor? Is he a right fit for the Doctor, or are people just saying Ricky Gervais?
No.
I like him, but I don't think he's fit for the Doctor.
He's not a character actor. That's the problem. He if playing himself, but I've tweeted this as well. But his Doctor would lack the compassion that the Doctor needs. Even when he was doing The Office, he's like everybody else was cast as a character. He was just playing himself, just a slightly augmented version of it. So yeah, Ricky Gervais, it would be awesome maybe as a just a novelty throwaway, but he would not be able to pull off the compassion.
Right.
As much as I love, and he's hilarious, but
yeah.
Well, put him in a Doctor Who episode. Just don't make him the Doctor.
Right. Like how they did with Simon Pegg, they did that too.
Maybe as the meddling monk, I could see him.
Yeah.
Maybe
he's very good at playing very selfish, so and not realizing selfish. So yeah, I can see him do that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Apparently, David Jason was in the running back in the 70s. For anybody that doesn't know David Jason, he's in that British sitcom Only Fools and Horses. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Which one is he?
He was Del Boy.
Which one?
Del Boy.
Del Boy. Oh, well, in his prime. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he'd make a good doctor. He sure makes one hell of a good comedian or a good character in a sitcom. But I don't know if he'd. I don't know what he'd do as a doctor. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
He's a really good straight actor as well. But he mainly does comedy. But I've seen him do straight. It's very good.
Maybe so. Maybe he would.
There's an actor that I think lost out. Raymond Williams puts him up. Hugh Grant. Now, the story behind Hugh Grant apparently was that Hugh Grant agent was contacted. Apparently, Hugh Grant would have been keen, because he says in a later interview, well, if his agent had actually told him about the role, he would have took the role. Hugh Grant's career has never really recovered since that incident. Let's be honest, it really actually hasn't. No. And Doctor Who, in my opinion, probably would have revived his career. But his agent never told him, and he only found out a few years back. So Hugh Grant was actually in the running.
He's been rumored twice for 96 and 2005.
I just can't imagine that or get behind that. I don't know. And I like Hugh Grant. I used to like his movies back in the day. I don't know. There's just
There's a smugness about him or something I don't like. I don't know. Even in these movies, there's some smugness about. He's like one of those guys you just want to punch in the face all the time.
Well, he was pretty good in that new Guy Ritchie movie that's coming out. He's very good at playing against his type now. What about Guy Ritchie as a showrunner? That'd be crazy.
Well. Okay, I love Guy Ritchie's movies, right? I do like his interpretation of Sherlock Holmes, the first one. But as showrunner for Doctor Who, he likes to do gritty. He likes to, I know he likes to do twists and stuff, but he's more gritty writer, and I don't think they will allow someone like him to write for Doctor Who. For me, I'd like to see a darker Doctor.
I love darker doctors.
But it's never going to happen anyway. He'd be perfect if you wanted a darker series, or someone like Neil Gaiman would be perfect.
Yeah.
You know who would be a perfect showrunner? Is that John Waters.
Oh no!
He's still alive.
Come on now.
I was thinking Ryan Johnson.
Oh yeah, Ryan Johnson.
We have Ryan Johnson's Chris Chibnall, same thing.
No, it'd just be a lateral step from Chibnall. I mean, I think it would be a good move.
Yeah,
what?
That Ryan Johnson.
Oh God, I know you're kidding.
The guy behind, I forget their name. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. And forgive me, but the Black Mirror show. Who's the guy? Who's the person behind that show?
What's his name?
Something Brooks, isn't it? Charlie Brooks.
Yeah, but that last season of Black Mirror was a joke.
Was it?
Yeah, it was terrible. There was a couple good things, but yeah.
Yeah, well, Miley Cyrus was in it, so that.
Yeah, I mean
I haven't even watched it.
Kind of, sort of entertaining, but it's just it's really, really just full of political crap. I've regressed it. I don't even
mind. These earlier series were actually very good concepts.
They were good. They were great. Yeah.
Actually, didn't that show go to America or a bigger streaming company? That's what happens.
Netflix.
It's Netflix for the past.
That's what happens. And you have to have a certain amount. It's the same with Doctor Who. Even if Doctor Who was to go to someone like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime, it still wouldn't. There'd still be some sort of political message in it because they can't help themselves.
Yeah, no, Amazon is much less preachy than Netflix. You know who I'd like to see? Manny Cotto. He turned around Enterprise, unfortunately not in time before it was canceled. He follows me on Twitter too. But yeah, no, somebody who's proven themselves that they know what they're doing, or even if you're going Star Trek, Ronald D. Moore or somebody like that.
Would be cool. What's he doing now, Manny Cotto?
I'm not sure what he's doing now. Let's take a look. I know he's been advisor on a few things. Let's see. Yeah, he did 24 for the past few seasons. Films, television. He hasn't done much since 24. Let's see.
Here, while you're looking for something, I've got an out there choice for the Doctor. Just popped into me head, right? It never happened, but just a fantasy one, right? So my fantasy one would be Daniel Day-Lewis, because anytime that guy acts on screen, he's either gone home with a Golden Globe or he's gone home with an
Although I believe he's retired now.
Yeah, the last one last movie.
Script and he'll come back. Trust me, someone will hand him a script and he'll look and he'll say Oscar, and he'll be back.
It would be a much darker Doctor, I can tell you.
Shibna will hand him a script and that'll draw him out of retirement.
He'll run out of the country. He'll never return. He'll be gone. He'd never poison. He'd no.
You know, here's the thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, I think Daniel Day-Lewis would be. He could like, you know, he can turn mud into gold. I mean, you know,
right?
So, I mean,
exactly.
Guy like that, you know, you're in good hands.
But the price tag for that.
Well, yeah. And if go ahead.
Go ahead, Jason. Sorry, I keep trying to say something, but it won't come out.
No. Go ahead. I'm interrupting you.
I was just going to say to the whole lot of you, that's my fantasy choice. So have you got a fantasy choice after you finish your point there, Jason? And then let me know what your fantasy choice would be for the Doctor. Someone that's out there that nobody would think of. So Daniel Day-Lewis is mine. Yeah,
I have a fantasy choice. And if death was not an impediment, and we could resurrect one actress,
right?
It would be, you know, here would be my dream team for Master and Doctor would be Peter Cushing and Charles Dance. You put those two together, that would, to me, would be just
wow.
There would be some explosions and dynamite. I mean, there'd be like
Peter Cushing, not the movie.
No, not the movie. Okay. No. Peter Cushing, like the Sherlock Holmes level. Peter Cushing.
Doctor,
okay.
Doctor.
Like the Peter Cushing that, you know, the Peter Cushing in his prime that played in Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know.
Now you're talking.
Charles Dance, excellent.
Charles Dance in his prime. You know,
although he's alive, but he's not.
No, I know he's not dead, but I'm saying in his prime, if like I said, if death was not an impediment and we could resurrect Peter Cushing.
Well, I tell you something though, Jason, Charles Dance's name gets mentioned a lot for the Master as well, still to this day. And I don't know, there might be a chance of getting him on. He's done things like The Crown recently. He was in series 3 of The Crown.
It was really good.
He was great in that.
If you can but the thing is, if you can get a guy like him, you're not going to pit him with Jodie Whittaker. You're going to need somebody, you know what I mean? Like you're going to need somebody who with some real gravitas.
I wanted to see him with Peter Capaldi so bad.
Wait, do you think that he's got the acting chops to pull off being scared of Jodie Whittaker?
Oh God. You know, I think that would really be stressing his acting ability to the you would really have to, I don't know.
Listen, if you want Doctor Who to be successful, Richard Madden, that's the template you want. An attractive, well-known man. That's how Doctor Who.
Madden would be a good choice. It wouldn't be someone I would have looked at a couple of years ago, but I actually agree with you. I think he could bring both sets of fans together, actually. I think he has the look. And I think they need another David Tennant or Matt Smith kind of. And I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I think if they want to kind of revive it, they kind of need to go with a kind of a younger guy. And I think he would fit the profile perfectly. I think
I can't imagine it. I loved him in The Bodyguard. I thought he was really great in that. He is a huge fan, though, so that does help.
Yeah.
He was in 1917. It was in it for like 3 minutes. A breathtaking performance, so many layers of information he gave over in just body language. It's just absolutely fantastic.
I mean, I guess I'd have to see it. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things. I mean,
you better hope he can do it because once he gets in there, it's
that's
a done deal.
Every choice though is a risk now.
Yeah, but there's some that are greater risks than others, in my opinion. You know, like if you got a guy, go ahead.
So Chris Persia put was it Dylan Moran, who's that'll be an interesting. He'll be good for a season. Do you know who he is? Did the show?
Yeah, Dylan Moran, the Irish comedian, isn't it?
Right, yeah. So I think he doesn't really have the acting chops, but I think he could do it for like a limited time.
Yeah, he had this show. What was it? The Little Black Book or something?
Great show.
Yeah, great show. But I don't like his comedy. He grates me like a grating part. I don't like him. No, he would actually turn me off. I couldn't watch him, to be quite honest.
you know. Okay, so here's two, and I think the first one would really. I can just totally envision it. Would be Craig Ferguson. Craig Ferguson, I think would make a brilliant Doctor. I didn't like him originally at all. I thought the guy was just an idiot, but I've really grown to appreciate this man's acting ability, and I just like his personality now. And I think he would be an excellent fit. And the other one was, he's probably a little aged for the role now, but I think, but I've often wondered how Timothy Dalton would fare as the Doctor, because I think he's, I can't really see him as 007, but as the Doctor, yeah, I mean, I think he would make a quite a good fit. I'd like to see it. That's all I'm saying.
Glenn Edwards says if you could resurrect people, then Alan Rickman. I actually have to say Alan Rickman is a good choice, but maybe more of a master.
Yeah, I was saying I say the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're talking potential actors, what about Tom Hiddleston?
Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah, plays Loki. I think he'll do it.
Yeah, I still see. I guess because he's kind of typecast now. Probably the master.
The master as well. Yeah.
But I mean, a good actor can play both roles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you saw, was it the Woody Allen movie? Was in Midnight in Paris? He played Scott Fitzgerald. He a totally different role all the way from Loki, but he was good. He was also really good in that King Kong movie.
I don't think I saw that.
He was so good in it, I didn't notice Brie Larson in it. That's how good he was.
Oh, wow. That is an incredibly great actor.
Give him the Oscar now. Actually, does anybody want to make any comments about the fact that Joker has done so well in the Oscars and the upset it's caused? And how do you actually feel about the fact that there actually isn't any female director Oscar nominated? Now, is it justified? Are the movies just not good enough, or is there an agenda? I think that is a bit of an interesting subject just to bring up for a couple of minutes.
They're going to scream agenda no matter what. I mean, they're going to scream. They're just waiting with bated breath to scream agenda. It doesn't matter whether there's one or not. The fact that they don't like it is enough for them to assume there's an agenda. So that kind of crap. It's just garbage.
I mean, I just heard. I haven't really been following it. This whole story with not Prince Andrew, the royals, with
Harry and Meghan Markle.
Harry and Meghan. Yeah.
I just heard the whole thing today about it being racist to criticize her. I'm like, she's so white. Are you crazy? Like, she's a white, attractive woman. She's the most privileged person in the entire universe.
Listen, this is my take on it, right? She knew what she was marrying into, okay? Now, I can understand Harry wants to protect her and doesn't want her to end up like his mother. That's fine. I get all of that. But she knew what she was marrying into. She was an actress. She was used to the media spotlight. Okay, it's more intense, right? But it's a typical, no offense to American friends out there, but it's a typical American not following the rules. They've got ancient rules and traditions over there. Now, I'm no royalist. I hate the royal family with a passion. But they've got institutions. They've got laws in place. She goes in there and decides it's not for her after marrying the guy, right? And then tries to turn. You're right. The media says anybody that criticizes her is being racist. It's not got to do with her race. She's privileged. She's basically going to be privileged for the rest of her life. She doesn't have to worry about anything for the rest of her life. And then she goes on, does an interview, and she's crying, making a show of the royal family. Right? They've got institutions and traditions in place. She goes in there, typical American. The royal family should have learned, right? They've had problems with Americans before in the royal family. You'd think they would have learned their lesson, but they didn't. So the royal family's to fault to blame as well, because they didn't see this coming. Everybody that knew Meghan Markle seen this coming a mile away, and nobody did anything about it. So the royal family, the predicament that they're in right now, it's their own fault. It'll probably be the downfall of them. They probably deserve it anyway. And, you know, happy days. So that's my take on it all.
Would you prefer her over Jodie Whittaker? It's a question.
It's about the same.
Oh, it's about
both have no personality.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I'd rather Queen Elizabeth play the bleeding doctor.
She would be more entertaining.
Fuck's sake. She'd be her jumping out of a tar. That'd be bleeding. That'd be prime time TV. Well, that would.
What about, was it Claire Foy, if you want to go for a woman?
Yeah, so I've mentioned her in the past that you were going to go down this route. They should have cast someone like a Claire Foy or even a Jodie Comer, that one that's in Killing Eve. She's an absolute psychopath, the actress that's in it. So she beat Jodie Whittaker actually in a couple of
Waller-Bridge?
What? Ballstrick?
Wasn't Waller-Bridge in Killing Eve?
No, she's not in that. I don't think.
No, that's that. What's that bloody show she has?
She's in Fleabag.
Fleabag had was it Andrew Scott in it, who was
Moriarty
doctor.
Yeah, she would have been perfect. Either her or Claire Foy, in my opinion, if you were going to go down the female route, they would have been better actresses. But let's be honest, right? Even with those in place right now, right? Okay, they'd be better. We wouldn't be focused on them. We'd be focused on Chris Chibnall and his writing team. But the reason why we don't just focus on him, because unfortunately, there's a bad actress in the role as well. I wish there was a good actress in the role, because we should be only concentrating on Chris Chibnall, and we should be concentrating on his boss as well, because he's the idiot that gave him the job in the first place. So, I mean, I don't know how BBC actually executives sat down and watched this pile of crap and actually said, yeah, that's good enough, and throw it out there. No. I tell you what happens, right? They sat down, they looked at that, and they thought, okay, we're at to spending millions on this. We can't do anything about it. Let's just throw it out in January and see what happens, right? Because nothing is happening in the TV schedule much in January. Let's be honest. January, February, March is quite dead. The autumn is when the TV is really watched in the UK. They wouldn't put it on in autumn. So they knew what they were doing. They threw this out there. That's why it's going to be over in March, and then they'll hope that people come back for this special. That they they have the special in place if it all goes tits up, and then she'll regenerate. That's what that's the theory I have now. Yeah, I think they have filmed that regeneration episode, and I think they do have it in place just in case this goes all tits up. And if you look at the viewer ratings now, and you look at the ratings it's getting on all the other sites, it's not looking good.
Could you imagine being the person that has to tell Jodie Whittaker, yeah, you're Colin Baker, see ya?
I can agree with Noel. I think she's already filmed. I think she's done. I think she's filmed a regeneration. She is done. That's my guess anyway. That's my hope.
She has to be. Chris Chibnall is going to use a scapegoat, right? He's going to use a scapegoat, and there's only one scapegoat to use, and who is that? Jodie Whittaker, because he knows that there is a backlash to her, so it'll be easier for him to save his job. He'll just throw her to the wolves. He won't.
No, you know what he's going to do, Noel? He's going to blame the fan. He's going to blame the fans. He's going to blame the hate mongers. He's going to say it was, there was a grand conspiracy against the show by the people who don't want a woman, this kind of thing. He's not, I don't think he's going to be so quick to throw her under the bus. I think he's going to want to blame the people who simply don't like the show, which is, most people.
Us.
Yeah, everybody. Well, except for that 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The metrics are just so this. Right now it's losing between 300,000 and 400,000 people per episode. I think it's probably going to increase a lot next episode because of it just Awful 55 just being so freaking condescending and awful
on so many levels.
On so many levels. So, I even if it keeps a $300,000 person loss rate, it ends up under 3 million by the end of the season. I reckon we're at my prediction for the end of the season. The last episode we get like 2.5 in the overnight.
Yeah, but hang on, guys. Do you not think that BBC are already bumping up these numbers already? And
I'm hoping
they were accused of it last year.
But if they were going to do that, don't you think they would make it higher than what they're doing?
Well, they'd probably see because look, the way I look at it is this: it wasn't promoted much, so I mean, they could bump up the numbers slightly, but they wouldn't be able to overdo it because I think people like us would see through that. To be quite honest with you, I could be wrong. I'm just terrorizing.
I don't know. I would think that they would really.
Well, they were accused of it last year, and you look what's happened with Rotten Tomatoes. They've obviously gotten to Rotten Tomatoes because they've been fiddling with the audience score and taking down reviews and not people.
Yeah. Like, why do Rotten Tomatoes do that? Why do they invalidate themselves?
I'm still waiting for mine to be
backfired
approved.
against them because look at what it came back as. It was sitting at, I think, 39, and then they deleted the user reviews, and then it came back at 6%.
I think it's 16% now. That's too high. That's way too high.
Well, look at some of the reviews. The 5-star reviews, at least when I was looking at them last night, all read like the back of a DVD case. So there's something a little bit fishy there. It's like 5 stars. This was a wonderful. Actually, we should look this up. I'm gonna pull it
Yeah, that would be funny.
I'll read out a few comments while you're doing that. Let me see. Orphan 55. Us one of the worst episodes in the whole of Doctor Who history. I know, and do you know what? I've noticed, right? And I'm not gonna have a dig at anybody or anything, but at the end, I've seen a lot of people say that they like this episode. I mean, you must really like rubbish. Seriously, because you must be seeing something that we didn't see. Because this is probably, I said at the time, the night we had the stream. I said this is probably one of the worst episodes in Doctor Who's history, right? And 2 of the worst episodes that we've had in Chris Chibnall's era are written by the same guy, Ed Hine. Right?
Yep.
What was Chris Chibnall thinking, giving him another spot anyway? After that, it takes you away, Abomination.
If you think this Orphan 55 was a good episode, how bad does a show have to be but for you to think that it's a bad friggin' show?
Well, it's one of the worst episodes, I think, in television history. I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now, and when you look at the 1.5 stars, you could tell these are people that are fans that are genuinely heartbroken. No, I haven't even voted. So here we got somebody called Maya. 5 stars out of nowhere. Absolutely brilliant so far. Looking forward to seeing what happens next. Well, that was deep. Let's see what else we can Jake. Jake says, massive improvement on season 11. Jodie is coming into her own. The writing is engaging and has some well-needed social commentary. There are no medium votes. It's like 1 or 2, 1 star or a half. Or a 1 or half a star or 1 star, and then here's Maya again. Like I'm just looking to see if I can find
how many of those 5 stars can you find that actually give specifics about the show?
Exactly.
When I was looking at them,
I've noticed that.
Oh, here's one. Here's a wonderful one from Chloe. 5 stars. Once again, this season is shaping up to be amazing. Why, you might ask? When a story arc tackles the hard issues we face in society so much that it makes a lot of old-aged men angry, then you know it's brilliant. This is what the show has always been about. This is sci-fi at its best. So you've got the the DVD commentaries, but that I'm just trying to see if I can find another 5-star one.
That's one of them I was reading last night. It's always been about making old white men angry. Yeah, it's always been like that. So
anyway, screenshot that comment actually, and send it to us so I can whack that up everywhere.
Oh, wait, I got another one here. So, this is in depth. 5 stars. Fun, good acting, plot twists, references for old fans, and easy for new fans to pick up. Does that sound legitimate?
Dude, this sounds like these these crappy reviews you see on these trailers on TV. It's like there's nothing really. It just sounds like some standard muck they just screen capped from any trailer you picked that won some award.
Can you say paid by the BBC?
Here's one. Loving this season so far. Rollicking good fun. Overarching plot. The return of the Master and some classic Who canon. Jodie is killing it. So excited for the rest of the season.
You all agree.
Here's another one. Jodie Whittaker is brilliant as the Doctor. The companions are wonderful too, especially Yaz and Graham.
Are they just
new season?
Anything about Yaz? She's a police woman and she's Indian.
Rotten Tomatoes must be passing out. They must be passing out drugs for these reviewers. That's all I'm saying.
Where
you can't write crap like that with a straight face. Or are you going to?
I'm trying to find that one review so I can send it to Noel.
The sad fact is, they could show an hour of a gaping arsehole. And then turn around and say, climate change, patriarchy, transgenderism, and they'll still get
with that visual, they would write the same exact crap they're writing for this episode.
Exactly.
For this episode, they'd write the same stuff. Funny, rollicking, good time. It was. Nothing compares.
For an hour.
It's always been about a gaping butthole all through classic Doctor Who.
Okay, so I'm going to send this to you in a second, Noel. I'm just going to call this Chloe is Delightful.
Nice. And then the same rationale why a gaping arsehole was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're obviously haters.
Yeah, look, they had arseholes in the 70s Doctor Who, so always been in Doctor Who.
Yeah, the only difference is they didn't show them on the screen for an hour.
That's how much it's progressed. That's why it's better. That's why they like. Yeah, they would do that because they're freaking crazy.
I saw an unreleased script and it had a gaping butthole in it.
Yeah.
Don't try to tell me.
Okay, there you go, Noel. You've got our friend Chloe.
Lovely.
She looks absolutely delightful.
Oh, does she? Oh, she's one of them. Is she one of them that looks like she'd murder someone?
Yes. Chloe.
Yeah.
Well, it's very blurry, but Chloe looks like a serial killer.
Is she shaking her fist about the male patriarchy in the picture?
She's wearing feminist glasses.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Typical.
Yeah.
The hair looks like it's blue.
Oh, okay. Shocking.
Chloe looks older, so she's probably like 50 something. She's not very happy.
We need
something
to see
happened in
picture.
Chloe's life.
I tell you, but it's always the same. It's always a bitter dog,
Right.
isn't it? It's always like someone that's in their late 40s, early 50s or something. That's some man has probably done them wrong, which is fair enough. But then they've just turned their bitterness and their hatred towards every man.
Yep. We're all bastards.
Yeah. We are. But you know what? Without us, you wouldn't be here either. So remember that. Well, no, in today's society, all we are is sperm donors. Remember that. That's all we are now. Yeah. Lucy Lawless as the Doctor, says someone.
No.
And that's coming from someone who was never pro gender change. Lucy knows the genre of fantasy and has piercing eyes.
Well, that's all you need.
I think she can do it. I think she'll be better than Whittaker.
Well, but that's not saying anything really.
Well, true, but she's a leading actress. She understands genre. She understands pressure. I wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't hate it, I think.
I wouldn't be thrilled.
No,
I didn't even like Xena, to be honest. To me, that did nothing for me.
I didn't mind Xena, but to be honest, the acting was never stellar in that show.
Right.
And you need a strong actor to play the Doctor. So that one, that's a pass.
That's not going to cut it.
No.
She has piercing eyes. You gotta give her that. You give her piercing eyes.
If you're talking a woman, what about Ruth Wilson, who was just in his Dark Materials? She was also the main villain in Luther.
Let's see. She was. I'm just taking a look right here.
She was it Mrs. Coulter in his
Oh God, her. Oh yeah, she actually looks evil normally. I could see that. Yep.
Are we talking about for the Doctor?
Yeah.
I would see more master.
Okay. Well, if I had to pick a Doctor, it would be Keely Hawes. After her performance in Bodyguard as the
Prime Minister.
Yeah, as the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Okay. She did a great job.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how she can.
I don't know, but I know that she did a great job as a serious actress. She can definitely play a mean woman who's got some cojones.
I mean, she was very good in was it Line of Duty? If you ever saw that, but to me, she always strikes me as somebody who plays somebody like a normal person.
Did you see Bodyguard?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like her in that role? Did you think she played she could command a scene?
No, yeah, she can. But again, I think she plays like. I've only ever seen her play things within her like perception that she said. I don't. She has to be able to perceive the Doctor and believe in it to be able to play it, and I don't know if she can.
Well, that's one of the big questions about any of these actresses. But from what I've seen of her role in Bodyguard, I don't think it. I mean, if she's able to do that, to me, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch. I could picture her and that character being adapted to the Doctor. Now, I'm not saying it would work, but I'm saying I can picture it. I can at least imagine that she might have that capability, and I think
she's got incredible range. Again, did you see her in Line of Duty?
No, Bodyguard is the only thing I've seen her in.
Also, it's also on Netflix, I think. It's just by the same writer.
Okay.
Line of Duty, that's actually a really good series, but she's in like the third or fourth season, and the seasons are only 5 or 6 episodes long, so.
Yeah, somebody is saying, "Oh my goodness, man, what are you
right.
This is just hypothetically.
Yeah. Here, you want to mail Arnold Schwarzenegger? Bring him in as the Doctor. That would be awesome.
Fantasy choices. So
right. I mean, we're just talking. I'm not even for a female Doctor, so
should be a woman. We're just saying if you had to cast someone other than Jodie Whittaker, these are the actresses that probably would have been a better fit.
Well, it could change our mind. Maybe
any of them would be a better fit.
Yeah, Richard Simmons would be a better fit.
Now that's
Richard Simmons would be a much better fit.
Jesus, Michael Jackson would be a better fit.
Because the reality is so horrible. So we have to run to fantasy because
our standards are below shit level.
Yeah.
There's something I have to say though that I was thinking about recently is that Yaz and Tosin Cole are they're basically like cardboard to me. They have very little if any personality at all. Like you couldn't if they said imitate Tosin Cole's character, just what do? I mean, how do you imitate that? There's nothing to imitate. But if they said imitate. If they said imitate Jodie Whittaker, like you could do it because she's just so friggin' goofy. The thing about Jodie Whittaker is she has some acting ability. I don't like her acting, but she has some acting ability. What I've narrowed it down to is I just don't like her friggin' personality. I don't like the character's personality. I mean, granted, I don't think she has the ability to command a scene. I think in that respect, her acting, there is a range that she just doesn't have the ability to command the scene. In that respect, her acting ability is hampered for the Doctor. But I mean, what it is I just don't like her. I don't like her portrayal. I don't like her personality. This goes for a lot of. I mean, there's certain characters that you think about them and you're like, they really can't act because they just don't have any screen presence. Her screen presence is just, Jesus, man. You just think of her personality and it's just awful as the Doctor, just awful. I mean, so there is a certain amount of acting ability on her part. I can't say but it's just one of those like, and it's not even up to the level of she could, with a little adjusting, a little nipping and tucking here. No, she could never rise to that level, but it's a lot of it is just, I don't like her personality. I don't like her portrayal. I don't like her. And there is that acting aspect for sure though.
And the crazy thing was she was hired for her personality.
Yeah. Oh, they said Chibnall said that she blew him away in the audition.
Well, I don't know what she did.
Away.
I don't know what they were. I don't know what they were smoking.
Just rearrange some of those words, and you might have your answer.
Well, take off the last word.
Yeah.
We'll get into
right. We'll look ahead.
The Doctor. I think Bradley Walsh is the Doctor. I think this whole era is a post-regenerative trauma has happened, and the Doctor's been brain swapped, and Bradley Walsh is actually the Doctor.
Although,
he like the Doctor, and Jodie Whittaker is some homeless woman who thinks she's a Doctor.
well, has anybody noticed that they are portraying Graham as a complete idiot this season?
Yes,
Anybody
it's
think
really
that's
annoying
intentional?
me.
Because I do.
Yeah, it is annoying.
And especially, it just seemed like, especially in the last two, it seems like
They're all
worse.
kind of idiots.
Yeah,
you said
they
that,
are.
Jake. Yeah, sure. The writing is idiotic. The acting is idiotic. Chris Chibnall is.
I mean,
idiotic.
they're just all idiots. I mean, Jesus Christ, Yaz is a friggin' idiot. I mean, Graham is probably. I think, in my opinion, I mean, I see what you're saying, Bolstrick. I just think Graham is probably the least of the trio of idiots that.
Oh no, I actually last season, Graham was the only thing I liked about the show.
You're just saying they're dumbing him down even more.
Yeah, they are.
It's the way they've written him in the past 3 episodes. The past 2 really, at the beginning, just it's not Bradley Walsh. It's the way he's written, but they've amped it up, and I'm wondering if that is another stab at us. It's like, we'll make him unlikable now too.
I don't know, because if you look at Orphan 55, this is just bad. It's like it's been a decline, a steady decline. This is the worst yet. So I mean, it just falls in line with that. All across the board, it's been this has just been a bad episode. So I don't know if it's just him or if it's just the shape of things.
And we know what's coming next week. It's going to be historical patriarchy on display.
Yep. She's going to give them both a lecture.
Actually, next week. So, predictions for next week's episode. Let's see, can we actually make early predictions, right? And see how many of them we actually get right tonight. So, what do you predict you will see in this episode? From the trailer, obviously, we've only seen the trailer, so, but it's pretty much obvious from the way the show was written so far. You could probably come up with a better script than actually whoever's writing this one. Who is actually writing this pile of crap?
I don't know how to say her last name. I know her first name's Natalie. I looked it up. I had to do some digging because IMDb didn't have her listed. But she's basically
the new women. They all sound
Natalie something, and she's written a children's show, and it looks like 2 shows that look like a teenage drama. Three writing credits to her name.
Right, so can I just say, how dare the BBC get a woman to write a male character? You don't understand the male character. How could you understand a male character? You're only a woman. Do you remember that line that they threw out, where these women throw out when they say men can't write women characters? Well, I'm accusing them of the same, right? So how dare you can't write a male character? Sorry, you've already lost me.
So, if we're going to do predictions using my power of prophecy, I'm going to say next week will be shit, and that's really the entirety of my.
And you think it'll be worse than what we've just seen?
I don't know, but I know it will be shit.
Tesla's going to be portrayed as an idiot.
Right.
Yeah, the Doctor's going to flap around. I predict immense incompetence by the Doctor. She's going to flap around, not be intimidating, and people will, for some reason, be scared of her because the script told her to for reasons. And we'll have guest cast in for a little bit that are famous, so they can put them in the trailer.
It takes place around the turn of the 20th century. So, how many historical misogynistic scenes do you think we're going to get?
Yeah.
Run it up by the last scene of her giving them Edison and Tesla a big lecture, most likely.
Well, that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If I had the editing ability, I'd do it myself. But I'd love someone to do it at the end of this series, to actually just compile a list of clips where Jodie Whittaker or one of her companion says something that's political, and just do a whole video and just show all of it compared to the way it would have been in, say, compared to a classic episode. And you'd see a few references in the classic episodes, and they deal with the issue with her, and then you look at what they've been using. Every episode. It's every episode. There's not one episode that escapes some sort of a message. Like, we get it once or twice, but every single time. It's getting tiring now. it's soul destroying watching Doctor Who right now. I don't know about yours, but I'm kind of starting to.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. You could have the best, like I say, you could hire Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. You could put them all in a room together, come up with the best script, come up with the best writers, have the best direction, have the best production, and then you have Jodie Whittaker smack dab in the middle of it.
Yep.
What the hell? How is that you just can't? I'm just saying, even if you iron all that out, you could take a really great actor, stick him in the middle of maybe one of the Chibnall's episodes. Hey, it's not going to be great. Maybe the writing would suck, but I'd sure as hell much rather. I mean, Capaldi could keep my attention. I mean, I'd at least enjoy Capaldi trying to act it out. It's excruciating watching her. So to me, the political garbage, but there's just, God, it's just so much to be said for, can we please get someone who has some modicum of acting ability? Just anyone.
Somebody said Agnes Brown from Mrs. Brown Boys would be a better female doctor. Well, yes, except she's played by a dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what would be better.
Yep.
But Nikola Tesla is rumored to be gay. It's bound to be.
Oh, okay. They're gonna do the King James thing, right?
Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, if Chibnall's sticking around and Whittaker's going, I think the only way he can go is a trans actor for the next Doctor. I just what else would he do?
It could get worse. It could get worse without a trans actor.
What you're saying is how far can he actually push it now? Or
right.
They're both dangerous. They both need to go.
That's what I said. He's dangerous. He's reckless. Do you know what? I know you say that kind of as half a joke, but you're being half serious.
No. I put it initially as a joke on Sunday. Now I believe it. No,
yeah, that's what's so sad about all of this.
What I mean, because it is Chris Chibnall, anything is possible. That's what I mean. It's actually scary. He is reckless. He needs to go. He needs to go as well.
He needs to take her with him.
Yeah.
They all need to go.
Better,
but she's not at the standard. The writing's not at the standard, and he's clearly over his head too. So why would you let them continue that? This is beyond my comprehension. I just don't get why.
Because they want to see how far they can take it.
Happen, and I know I think it is because they don't want to lose face. But at the end of the day, I don't care about saving face now. Just get the show right. If you get it right, you will have a hit on your hands. I do agree to a certain extent. If they were to get rid of Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall after Series 12, which I know is not going to happen now, then there'd be a chance. The fact that he's rumored to be sticking around for Series 13 and 14 possibly is what actually sends shivers down my spine. Right? Now,
where did you hear that at?
But here's the thing. Even if she's gone, right, you're still going to have whoever takes over the role are going to have to suffer his writing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's a waste on a good actor. I mean, really, it's that writing. And
they have to start over. If they want a success, if they actually want to rebuild Doctor Who into something that's actually important and relevant for the fans, they're going to have to start over. There's no two ways about it. You can't do it half ASS.
Yep. They would rather have it fail and fail dismally than have any intimation that they got it wrong.
Well, it's not just that. They have an agenda, and they're going to push that agenda and shove it down people's throat, whether they like it or not. And if they can't, then they're going to be miserable and unhappy, and they may end up doing that. Like I said in the last stream, they may end up doing that. I think, like I said, I really think they're just trying to see how far they can milk it and see how far down the totem pole they can go before, they have to make a diehard decision. I just don't think I just don't think they want to. I don't think they want to.
Yeah, really looking forward to Sunday's episode. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited.
I'm so ecstatic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just know.
It's so good to have her back in the saddle.
I just can't comprehend how people actually thought. Right, granted, if people said they liked Skyfall Part 1 and 2, I can kind of get it because I did actually enjoy the fourth to a certain extent. Second one was actually a shambolic in my opinion, but this was even worse. right?
Well,
I don't mind people if I wanted to, but to say that you love that this was one of the best episodes you've seen, which I've seen all over Twitter. Do you know what? Do you know what's happening? Right? The other side know these are shit, right? But they're not going to admit it to us. So they're deliberately and they're overhyping these episodes. They've overhyped every single episode. Now, as I said, Spyfall was an improvement on last year. We can all agree on the panel on that, right? But that's saying a lot because Series 11 was so bad, right? But it was an improvement, right? But when you went onto Twitter that night after the episode dropped or a couple of days after, you should have seen the reviews from some of the fans. They overhyped the episodes, and I think that's what's happening. And I think the media as well are struggling to say something as well, because you see it in some of the articles. They are actually struggling to say something, but they're trying to say something good. They all know this is bad, but they just won't.
Bro, they don't want to. They don't want to backtrack on.
Yeah,
what
but
they've been saying for 2 years.
do you really think that the people who wrote the last Ghostbusters really thought it was bad? I think they thought. I think some of these idiots. I think some of these idiots think that this is actually good television. I think some of these people really genuinely believe
Ghostbusters movie was brilliant.
Ghostbusters 2016 is the best Ghostbusters movie in the franchise.
He's still not, according to Dan Aykroyd, he's still not allowed back on the Tony lot.
Why? What did he do?
What's wrong? What happened?
Balls?
Yeah, I think he's.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I think so.
Later.
Oh, did he say he had to go somewhere?
Am I still here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, my internet exploded there for a second.
Yeah. So what happened with Dan Aykroyd? Why is he not allowed on the set?
Dan Aykroyd had. Well, it's he said it in an interview, I think maybe 2 years ago. But Dan Aykroyd had advised, or rather begged, Paul Feig not to do what he was going to do with that movie. He didn't pay any attention. The movie did what it did. So, quote from Dan Aykroyd, Paul Feig, he said, quote, the director of that movie will not be back on the Sony lot anytime soon.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
that's good news. We don't.
You can it was on an evening talk show, but you can probably find the clip on YouTube. But needless to say, they were not impressed with what they did.
You know, I think the movie industry in large part has been taken over by people who have no business, making movies. And they truly believe, I just honestly think they truly believe some of this garbage is, they are really impressed. I mean, they, like some of these people probably get goose pimples thinking about the next episode of Doctor Who. They get shivers down their spine thinking of how great, they can't just frothing at the mouth with excitement.
I'm sure
there visit that little forum. I won't mention its name, but that's my humor after every episode. That was delightful. That was perfect. 10 out of 10. Best ever.
I'm convinced that they genuinely thought they were going to get the same reaction from this episode that they got from Rosa, which also wasn't a good episode. But at least Rosa, they got the plaudits they wanted.
Rosa was way more entertaining. And that's not saying anything.
But I really think they thought because they're dealing with climate change, they were just going to get all this applause, all this worthy applause. And I think they kind of butthurt that they didn't get it.
Well, they're out of touch. They're out of touch with real people. And that's the problem. They need to stop thinking that way, that everyone thinks like them. That is their problem.
I mean, look, is Jodie Whittaker's not even, she's never even watched, from what I understand. She's never even watched an episode of Doctor Who.
She admitted she refused. She has not watched any Doctor Who.
Because Chibnall told her not to. He gave her some sort of manifesto, from what I understand.
Yeah, what kind of stupid advice is that?
It's Chibnall.
True, but recently on Jimmy Fallon, she said on the interview there, she said that she is a Whovian because she has actually watched some Doctor Who.
Oh, some?
Yeah.
Half an episode.
Doctor Who now. She has watched some Doctor Who, but she classed herself as a Whovian because she's watched some Doctor Who. And when asked if she watched it before, she said no. So, I mean, I don't mind. Matt Smith didn't, but Matt Smith went back and he researched the show and he actually became a fan of the show. We're not asking every actor or actress that takes this role to actually love the show either, but at least put your heart and soul into it. Jodie Whittaker's acting is just one-dimensional. She's no screen presence, no gravitas. She just there was only one time that she has actually convinced me in a scene, and it was when she was standing at the Tardis door when she was looking out at Gallifrey. Now we didn't see Gallifrey in the state it was, but that was the only time that she actually convinced me that she had some sort of emotion. But when the Master was...
I will argue against that, Noel. The hate in her eyes when she was telling off the single father last year, that was legit. I felt the anger there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you have always said that about that scene, yeah. Well, I'll go back to the Master scene, though, where the Master is basically telling her that he nuked Gallifrey, and there's nothing there. And I mean, throwing the thing across the room is not the kind of emotion.
Yeah, it was like she would throw it, but she had no power behind it. It was like she just kind of like threw it down like lightly. Peter Capaldi would have like been beating stuff up.
That's what I mean. Even if she hadn't done that, you know, reacted more physically, then I would have bought it. But she just didn't. It just...
Well, she was in a bad mood at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, bad mood.
Yeah, that was the entire element.
That is a very important story development there, right? Because this is part of the Gallifrey story. Yeah, right. So she was in a bad mood. So remember that, because that's part of the whole Gallifrey, because he didn't mention it. Like, he blows it up in the second episode, doesn't reference it in the third. But that little reference about her being in a bad mood is part of that story development right there. That's Chris Chibnall's...
Well, I wish she would have stayed in a bad mood, because otherwise she would have been less annoying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I have to give Jodie Whittaker credit, because when I watch her as the Doctor, I genuinely feel like I'm watching an entity that has 1,000 years worth of experience in the galaxy and the universe. I mean, the way she carries.
I want what you're taking.
Yeah, and the way she runs. That screwdriver, she relies on the screwdriver a lot.
Oh, God. You know, they've done that for too long now, though, anyway.
As the rabbi says, though, you know, she's very incompetent.
And like, we have to make her screwdriver look like a sex toy.
Yeah, true.
Nobody have any, like, self-awareness in the production. Oh, yeah, the dildo look. That'll be good for the first female Doctor. Like, what's wrong with her?
Right, we've got about 4 minutes. We've got 4 minutes to go, so I'll tell you what we'll do, because I know a few people have to shoot off. So we'll end the stream, but before we do me a favor, guys. And I see Chris is actually in the chat. If you could do us a favor and throw up the links of all the channels, all the guests that are with me tonight, I'd appreciate it. And while he's doing that, guys, go ahead and give you our channels a shout out, and if you just want to tell us what's up and coming on our channel as well, yeah, go ahead. Whoever wants to go for Blue Bonnet, you can go first. Ladies first.
Just Blue Bonnet Hoobian. I'm on YouTube and Twitter. Just follow me on Twitter. Recently I started doing live streams. Me and my husband do them, and we've been just doing classic Doctor Who discussions, and hopefully pretty soon we're watching Blake 7, so we're going to have something with that, and hopefully Space 1909 streams, and then just the complete always the videos where I'm just bitching about Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. Those were just a given.
Thanks very much. The rat boy, go ahead.
I put my channel in the chat. I'm doing. By the way, Blue Bonnet, your review of all the 55, and you're in the car doing that video.
Yeah,
that video. That's awesome. I love that review.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm doing DVD giveaways every week. Right here on the Tardis Zone. This week's one is going to be really good Doctor Who. David Tennant Doctor Who, first season, series 2. All you got to do is win it. Subscribe to my channel and leave the hashtag Doomsday. Do it on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. We'll do the drawing on Sundays, and then there's great DVDs to win every week. I do about 2 videos a day. Tomorrow's ones will be going over the Colin Trevorrow script for Star Wars, Duel of the Fates, and the review of The Witcher. And just if anybody's there, my channel wants me to do anything, just let me know in the comments. The best thing about YouTubing is the comments.
Thank you, Rabbi. And don't forget to subscribe and Ballstreck.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I run a YouTube channel. I do things. I'm a very positive person. I've never been angry. I'm all about feeling good, man. I love everything. Everything with the world and entertainment is great. So if you want some feel good videos with smiles and puppy dogs, yeah, that's what I do. Although I will be away for a couple days because I got outside work to do, so I'll be offline. But we will be getting ready for Sunday's episode, and it's going to be great. I'm just going to be all smiles. So look forward to tons of positivity. Oh, yeah, and Rabbi, I was just going to ask, is that the Region 1 DVD that you're holding up there?
Let me see. Hang on. I can't remember. It's the BBC To Entertain. To Entertain was...
Oh, does it have the... let me see the side of it. Just hold it up to the camera. That is the Region 1. Yes, whoever wins that DVD set has been out of print for years.
Really?
It's actually worth something. So yeah, as soon as I have it, mine is beat to hell.
I guess I'm stuck with it. It's going away. I'm still.
Yeah, unfortunately, that DVD gets lost here shortly.
You checking them out. You should be checking them out before you someone get a nice.
Blu-rays. Once I upgrade, I upgrade. What can you?
Yeah.
Right, listen, I want to thank you all very much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. It's been, you know, I've had a bit of fun tonight, I have to say, because I have been I think we all have been a little bit depressed the last couple of days, especially. And this stream actually cheered me up a lot. So I'm glad I actually done it tonight. So, Ballstreck, I'd like to thank you for coming on. Pleasure having you on as usual, mate.
Thanks, man.
Blue Bonnet Hoovian, thanks for coming on. Jason, pleasure as always. See you on Sunday if you are still on for Sunday.
Yeah,
and
see you
then. Rabbi, and obviously your Sunday as well, yeah. And Ballstreck, if you do have a bit of time on Sunday, I know you said you're busy, but if you do manage to get a bit of work going, there is a slot here for you on Sunday if you'd like to come on.
Yeah, I may stop by to make a brief appearance, just so I can say how much I loved the episode. Yeah, won't be here for the whole stream because I have to get my video together that night, but I'm sure we're all gonna love it, so it's gonna be great.
And Ballstreck, I just want to say, it was good meeting you.
Yes, you as well, my friend. And actually, do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't have one as of yet. I'm going to get one, but at the moment I stream with Blue Bonnet Hoovian. Generally, we stream together, so it's we're kind of a duo. But yeah, eventually. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I will have to check that out as well when you do get it. But awesome, and yeah, this was great. And everybody, what do I say? Rock on. Do the youngins still say that?
No, I haven't heard that.
It's all groovy, man.
We're back to the 60s right now. Right, listen, guys, I'll let you go because I'm going to talk for a few more minutes. But listen, thanks again for coming on, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. And Ballstreck, thanks again for coming on. And yeah.
Yep.
I don't even.
Good night, all.
Night, all.
Good night. Bye.
Je vais parler le français et je vais dire au revoir. I'm Canadian, yo.
Now, glad you all came along. Thanks for, as I said, to all my guests. I'd like to thank Chris. And if there was any more moderators, I'm actually on StreamYard, so I don't know if any of the moderators are there, but I just want to thank you all for moderating tonight and for looking after the chat. And everybody in the chat as well, thank you for your opinions and some of your questions. We will be back on Friday, and then, of course, we will have the episode review panel on Sunday. We might have a panel on Friday. We'll see if I can get a few guests for Friday. if anybody actually is interested on coming onto the panel, you can get in touch with me through Twitter or through one of my Facebook groups. Good night, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. And yeah, have a good week. See yous.